Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast here. This is SMGFrenzy Live with your co-host.
That's an ADC, as always. You guys know me as Angel. Like always, back for another week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, another week of Conquest. This is episode 66, being recorded on March 30th, 2025. These episodes for the foreseeable future may be a little bit shorter. We're trying to test out something to see if it works out or not. So let us know if you like this shorter, faster-paced format or not. And we'll just get right into it with of course, our esports and gaming topic. Starting off with the most recent CDL Major. I'm going to hand it off to you. We saw that Atlanta FaZe came out with another win in the CDL Major 4-0 in the grand finals. Let us know about your thoughts of the power rankings and placing of the teams. Which team's looking strong? Which team's looking kind of weak? And of course, we'll talk about the Rostermania that ensued quickly after, not just within the top 5, but also within teams such as Optic Gaming and whatnot.
Okay, so yeah, this major was hosted by Optic, and this and that. Optic went into the event with the new roster, literally one man change. Um, Thinking, I mean, they have to go for points at this point. They've been struggling. They literally went 0-18 map count, and I think only won one. So they had to make a change. Obviously, no one was expecting it off rip early. I thought they would have waited after the event, but I think they're in crucial like do or die moments for points. So they did whatever they could, and I mean they did look better. Obviously, there wasn't enough practice on that team, so they didn't really place well. I think they only won one series this weekend, but I mean, other than that, underdog. I mean, Surge was an underdog because people weren't sure how they were going to translate their online performance into the LAN, and obviously they did do that. Besides the finals, because they ended up playing FaZe in the finals. Surge ended up surprising a lot of people. They ended up almost reversing sweeping FaZe in the winners finals to go to the grand finals. So this and that. Ultra performed really well. Thieves, a super team that everyone was considered, has yet to win anything this year, and they're projected to win championships. But I think they ended up top 4
I'm somewhere around that.
or top 5, 6, somewhere around there. Very disappointing placements for them after coming off second of the previous event. There's no point of talking about the teams that were eliminated off rip. Besides
The Falcons is always gone,
Falcons,
like, immediately.
and which I'm gonna talk about in the Rostermania part.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, FaZe. I mean, they look good. The only team they struggled against was Surge, besides the finals when they played them. Um, so yeah, it comes to a shock that you know this roster of 3 have been the team for so long that they're still winning,
Mhm.
and they're building their resume. It doesn't matter. So yeah, with this win, FaZe now has the 3-peat, the first in since 2016, 17, since Optic Dynasty team did it.
Mhm.
They won the first major, the second major, and then they won the World Cup. So,
Yep.
yeah, a really good event. A lot of a lot of upsets mainly, which was good. Good storyline, good stuff, and trash talking was on to another level of this event, which was pretty good to watch and see clips. But yeah, congrats to FaZe. They won an event pretty convincingly.
Yep.
But other than that, with always every event, there's always a Rostermania into play. So yeah, which I'm gonna continue on talking. So, um, I think let's see,
I can pull up some of
Optic.
the other ones if we want to save Optic for last, or
I mean, Optic. I kind of know. I know their whole situation in their rosters.
Mhm.
So I mean, while you pull up those, I'll talk about Optic. So Optic decided to drop Pred and re-sign Hook. People are hella confused why they did this in the first place. So according to people, Optic asked Pred to make a switch from sub to flex. He said no because he feels like he's a top 5 SMG in the game. So, and obviously, the coach, the players talked about they're just, that team wasn't meshing well on this type of game. So something needed to be done. And Hook, we saw what Hook did with Optic the first time going, and yeah, I mean, this is just a Hook was signed to match Sasi's pacing, so they work off each other better. That was the whole point of that signing. More so, and then obviously Skies. We talked about it, but he obviously came in to replace Kenny due to Kenny's lack of performance. Not saying he wasn't good, but it's just something wasn't mentally there. He wasn't there, or this and that. But yeah, let's see.
You want me to cover the others, or?
Just tell me the teams, and I'll tell you what's going on with them.
Well, I've got the big one that everyone's really got their eyes on is the expected Vegas Falcons roster. It seems that they'll be picking up potentially some pretty old pros, plus the one that Optic just dropped, Pred. I think we expect that roster to be Pred, Arceus, Priestas, and Xnid.
As of right now, yes, but I think they're going away from Al Saadi. I think they experimented with it and they just realized, and obviously, I think Exodus was like the best and more like complete player out of the whole roster because he seemed like he's the only one who understood what's going on, and he's the one who was in there practicing with those guys in the eights and stuff like that. So, the Saudi only experiment didn't last long, but it makes sense. None of these guys were played in the challengers beforehand, so they gave it a try and it didn't work out. So
yeah.
Let's see. Gentlemates made a roster change.
Yep.
They benched Lins, which came to a shock. I think that they're up the next and up and coming SMG. I think he'll go on to a different team maybe after this major.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Odig were gonna pick him up for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not. Well, obviously not. They signed Hook. And then they benched Priesta as well. So that means if this is what I think, they're slowly going off to a. I think they're signing Johnny. Johnny was a good player in MW2 for the Vegas Legion at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's been really good in the Challenger, so he's been I think he's the number one player at the moment for them, so they're gonna pick him up. I don't know who they're picking up for Priesta yet. Let's see.
The only other team that has changes also is the Heretics.
Heretics made a switch from I think Lucky to Super. Super played decently in his first event or his first online qualifier match.
Yeah.
And then they got to do something. They need to find something that's gonna work. Obviously Heretics they have a deep running in the CDL or Call of Duty World League, so there's the reason why they don't struggle is because there's good talented Spanish players that can compete. So their all Spanish team is still going. I think this is just to fix their pacing.
Yep.
More so anything. I think because this game, due to Omni Move, it's a faster paced game. So it makes sense. Maybe they just want to switch up and go quicker. There's another one. Rocker made a roster change. They dropped Paul X. Paul X has been absolutely abysmal. Not trying to downplay him. Obviously, he's a pro in the league, or at the time he was, but he hasn't been playing great or done stats or anything. He's been struggling the most out of everybody, and it came to a surprise that they why didn't they do this move earlier or like when he was struggling even worse? And
I think that's really about it for the COD side. So
there's another one. There's one more. Or no, there was a. Never mind. I don't think there is.
Yeah, I think that was about it for CDL. I mean, it makes sense as post major, so teams have a pretty good idea. 2 majors in now, seeing how they sit in LAN. So no surprise that teams are making some pretty significant roster changes, and I'm sure we will see how they fare. Especially, I'm curious to see how Falcons fare if they do pick up this brand new roster. But to move away from Call of Duty, we go back to a childhood classic if you're around during the glory days of, especially if you went to GameStop a lot. Game Informer, which shut down, I think, about a year or two ago. A lot of us that are around the ages of, say, right now, would be between the ages of 19 and 35, roughly. Especially if you're a gamer that went to buy games in person, may have subscribed to Game Informer at some point. They are the ones that would come out with, like, magazines, usually just physical magazines, but also sometimes virtual magazines, where you'd see, like, like the cover would have a really beautiful cover of whatever is the big game coming out that month, and would give you a big insider into that game, but also just other games that are happening. So a lot of people, including myself, like collected the Game Informer magazines because they're cool, and unfortunately they shut down because a lot of people weren't subscribing to them anymore. Lots of people, of course, now just use their phone or their computer or laptop to read articles, and a lot of people also don't go in person to actually buy games at places like GameStop, so they would not go and also subscribe to Game Informer at GameStop. So it saw like a massive like decrease in like user return and revenue earned from that, and decided that it was best for them to shut down. But apparently they are relaunching this year both with a physical and digital magazine. I'm curious to see how this like goes forward because they are now independent. They're not owned by GameStop, which is cool. And we'll see if people do return and actually crave that physical magazine. But that's really all we have news for now. I don't know the exact launch date for this at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I would get this booklet every month. They would have a new. I think I did it more so for the cover art. I mean, obviously the information, but they always had some great cover art on their magazine or their every month.
Yep.
So when I received the last one, it was it hurt a little bit because I was like, damn.
Mm.
Like every month, I was expecting another one and another one. Then when they announced they were shutting down, but due to you could just get all this stuff online now and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's good to see that I mean, they won't be with GameStop anymore, and they're just gonna go independent. Um, so yeah, I can't wait to see. Hopefully, I'm probably gonna resubscribe to their thing because I mean I love those booklets and
Mm-hmm.
I mean even if they have online copies, I still prefer the booklets. I love it's just the cover art. It just would go off like what's hot, like the best thing. I think when Halo Infinite dropped, they released that one. That one was nice.
Mm-hmm.
They always do whatever's like the most popping and most talked about thing at the time. But they really, I mean, it's good to see, something not fully killed off. So I'm happy. I can't wait for them to start and announce their official return, like when they'll start producing this product again, or
Yeah.
like the magazines or stuff like that. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited to see, and I'm excited to see how long they last the time around. I do hope people actually subscribe because I do think it's a crucial part of growing up as a gamer, especially in our age. It definitely was. That's how we learned about a lot of games. But
yeah,
we move on to our final topic for esports and gaming, which is the first Halo LAN, not hosted by HCS, but was sponsored and actually advertised by HCS. It was held by FaZe Ksan with LVT, and it was a fun event to watch. You had Shopify Rebellion, Space Station, FaZe, and Optic go up against each other and run pretty much in a general like Halo format. For the first time, we got to see the new Halo S&D like actually be played also in comp, which was interesting. Of course, we've heard pros complain about it being this is not Halo, but I think once the bugs are worked out, this is a good game mode to add to Halo. So I'm just saying
I don't think we'll see this game mode until next season, in my opinion.
that's fair. That's a fair take.
But if this, I mean, okay, well, should I talk about the game mode or the event?
Do the event first.
Okay, so the event I watched the majority, but I think I only didn't watch one match.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, FaZe could literally be anybody if they're all on the right, like if they're all on fire at the same moment. I think they took Optic to the limit.
I have the scores if you want to know.
Tell me this, go for the scores. So I think Shopify played Space Station first series. I think it was 3-0.
Yep.
FaZe versus Optic was a 3-2.
3-1.
Okay, so it was okay. So 3-2.
3-1.
Then we had 3-1, and then we had SSG versus FaZe, and obviously you said they got. This is the one I didn't watch.
3-1.
3-1, and then I watched FaZe versus Shopify or Optic versus Shopify in the winners finals, and holy shit!
That was a match.
This might be the best. This might be the best series ever played. Like watched. You thought Halo Infinite's competition couldn't get? I mean, it's. I think it's lopsided this year. I think there's obviously the top two teams that are gonna winning all of it.
Yep.
Like, but if FaZe or PlayStation, besides, we don't know how other teams could perform against this because we've only mainly the whole ACS has been covering these 4 teams because they are technically considered the top 4 teams.
Yep.
Going from last year, and it looks like they're still the same. But obviously, there's gonna be some sleeper teams. I mean, once ACS gets announced, which we'll have the event next.
It's coming pretty soon, so yeah.
Next week?
I think so. Sometime either next week or the week after.
Okay.
But
yeah, so yeah, pretty good. I think Optic had a reverse sweep Shopify to even make it to the grand finals. Obviously Shopify did their thing in the losers finals.
Yep.
And Optic versus Shopify grand finals. Masterclass piece. Optic got second again. The trend still continues, but
the Silver Surfers.
But still,
it was a really damn good. If you need to watch,
goddamn good, bro.
If you need to watch any Halo matches from this year, watch the winners final and the grand final. That's all you need to watch. Those 2 teams are at each other's throats. Sometimes certain maps they will like smoke each other. Like I think one of the strongholds like Shopify smoked Optic, and then I think one of the Slayers Optic smoked Shopify, and then in other game modes they were just like neck and neck, and you're like, Jesus Christ, these 2 teams.
When Optic reverse swept Shopify in the winners finals, the Slayer, dude, the score was 20-4 at one point. Cycle was considered the prodigy of there, went 3-14.
Hey, even prodigies have their bad days. He redeemed himself in the grand finals.
Well, yeah, obviously. Which, I mean, they're saying that he's like the next star, and I do believe it. Like, yeah. I don't have anything. Like, obviously, there's a reason why he was kept on his roster, and I mean, just having 2 veterans and 2 high caliber players like that join that roster has really elevated his game. Even last shot's been incredible too. I mean, it sucks that I mean, on paper, you wouldn't think Shopify is a stacked team because you think of SSG or FaZe or Optic. That looks because you don't know much about Cycle or Last Shot because they're new, but because of what they've been doing on the online and what they just did on the LAN thing. They're trying to make a staple name for themselves, and I mean, yeah, I can't wait for Halo this year. I think it's gonna be Optic versus them all year long.
I mean, that's what it's set up to be. Optic and Shopify easily are far and ahead the best teams. I think, as I was telling Angel before this, I do legitimately think though, Space Station is going to be the underdog this year. I don't think they'll win an event, but they will push both of these teams to the limit. And I can see Space Station being in a grand final if Shopify or Optic slow down. That's the main thing, because it's a decent, hefty season. And some teams, depending on their gameplay style or how they vibe with each other, and a lot of other factors, even just day to day, like playing on Saturday and playing on Sunday, it can be 2 different vibes for a person or a team. So it really depends on how consistent these teams can keep up their fire. And Shopify and Optic at the moment seem like they can, but it's only the first LAN. So you got to see once the true like gauntlet event where it's like a Friday to Sunday event where they're playing through the open bracket, through the winners bracket, losers bracket, so on and so forth, and see how that goes. But at the moment, like you said, and I think everybody knew, these are the 2 juggernauts of the HCS scene, and it's going to be very, very fun to watch each other match up with each other. But besides that, that's really all we have on the Halo stuff. We go over to general news, which has the biggest update that had the internet by storm for a bit. The Avengers and Marvel came out and had an 8-hour-long live stream on Twitter, YouTube, and every other platform announcing the cast for Avengers Doomsday, which is supposed to come out next year. They announced that Doomsday is officially in production and announced all the people, which I'm about to list off now. Many of these names, you should know most of these names because many of them were in the OG Avengers and many of them are in the modern Marvel stuff. Which has Chris Hemsworth reprising as Thor, Anthony Mackie reprising as Captain America, Vanessa Kirby being Susan Storm, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Florence Pugh as Yelena, Tecno Huerta as Namor, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Letitia Wright as Black Panther, Eban Mas-Barak as The Thing, Kelsey Grammer as The Beast, Louis Pullman as Sentry, Danny Ramirez as Falcon, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Hannah Joan Cameron as Ghost, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, Rebecca Romijn as Mystique, James Marsden as Cyclops, Channing Tatum as Gambit, and also Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. So we see it's an interesting mix because it's mostly like, it's like half of the OG Avengers cast. We have a lot of the Fantastic Four, and then we have a lot of the OG X-Men, like pre-MCU, which is curious, which means this whole multiversal thing is all coming together, I guess. Because we have the Fantastic Four movie that comes out this year. We know that Galactus is in it, which means they probably lose in their movie, and they have to leave their Earth and come to MCU Earth. And I'm assuming it's probably the same thing with, like, the X-Men. They probably have to leave their Earth as mutants, and then they somehow end up on our Earth. And then Doom apparently is probably a variant. So we'll see how that all plays out. But it's a stacked cast. They had millions of people watching chairs scroll by for hours, which is a funny way to have an announcement, but it was effective. And I think Marvel knows Avengers is their thing. This thing will make $1 billion next year if it's good or bad. Hopefully it's good because this is about Doctor Doom, one of the most famous Marvel characters of all time. So
New mask, same task. That's what it is, Mokhtar. New mask, same task. And what people are like worried that they're like, no Benedict Cumberbatch, no Tom Holland. Bro, they're gonna be in the second movie. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they're gonna be in the second one.
Probably, I would imagine so.
They're gonna be the ones that save them.
The new Spider-Man movie is supposed to be taking place during Doomsday. So I think Spider-Man for sure is going to be in Secret Invasion right after. Or Secret Wars, I think is what it's called, yeah.
Yeah, supposedly he's supposed to be the one. Well, what from the way people were saying and how I think isn't Spider-Man supposed to be the one leading the charge for the Avengers?
It depends on which variant, because there's also the one where Captain America leads the charge against Doom. So, and we have Captain America, so...
Yeah, but no one. Would you rather have nothing against what's the name of the actor that plays him? His name is
Anthony Mackie. You don't like him. I do. I don't know what the.
I don't. No, I don't hate him. I don't.
Okay.
But people who you gotta remember what people like. People like a lot of Spider-Man and Tom Holland more than anybody.
For sure.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yes, he obviously. I don't know if y'all watched the new Captain America. Hopefully, I'm not spoiling it, but the movie's been out a long time ago. So obviously, in the movie you watched it, they brought up something about restarting the Avengers. And I think I forgot if he said he was like tempted to doing it, or I forgot exactly. I can't think of it because I watched the movie like.
So the president, it'd be like Angel said, spoilers. The president asked Captain America to restart the Avengers Initiative because he thought it was important. Bucky, he talked to Bucky about it. Yes, Bucky's in the movie, and he was like, he did see that there was probably a need for the Avengers after all the events happening around the world and even in America with the fight versus Red Hulk and the guy who created Red Hulk and whatnot. And the warning at the end of the movie that there's doom coming, which quite literally, so it's like the Avengers obviously will have a reason to restart, and I think because of the way that Captain America was set up, Captain America of course will be the leader of the Avengers once again. It makes the most sense, so it'll be just like Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, where Spider-Man did not lead the Avengers. You had Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America, with Captain America being the main leader of the Avengers. That's just how it's mostly always going to be.
My leader sacrificed his life for himself, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. My leader is not Crisp.
Sorry.
But now he's a different Crisp. Now he's the guy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is probably like the most star-studded cast since the first Avengers.
No, since
No,
Endgame.
not the first, the Endgame. I meant to say Endgame. from the end game. And a majority of them are coming back. I think the only person that isn't coming back, obviously, Black Widow.
Scarlett Johansson
Or
isn't coming back. Chris
maybe.
Evans
Well, we
isn't
don't know.
coming back. Well, as far as we know, like Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, Chris Evans, OG Captain America.
They might come back as variant.
What's his name? The guy who plays Hulk.
Ralph. No, is it?
No.
Bruce Banner, the guy who plays Bruce Banner, right?
Yeah. Why am I blanking on his name? Mark Ruffalo. Yeah. He hasn't been put on the list. Benedict Cumberbatch, as you mentioned, wasn't on the list. Tom Holland, like you mentioned, wasn't on the list.
But there's no way they're not in the movies, bro. They're gonna be in the.
Yeah.
Most likely gonna be in the second in the second part.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they announce the name of the second movie yet?
Yeah, Secret Wars.
Secret Wars. Yeah.
That's it. If you read the comics, this is where they go to the battle planet, where it's all-out war. This should be like an insanely fun movie.
Will it be better than Endgame? Does it have
If they
potential to be better than
execute it well, yes.
Well, yes. You know who's directing this movie, right?
I know. Which means
Say
the pressure is high.
Who's directing these movies?
It's the Russo brothers.
Who else is gonna direct a movie like that?
I'm just saying.
No one else would have been able to do it besides them.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
You're not wrong. It makes sense that they would do this, but I guess to keep the pace rolling, yeah. Specifically, Doomsday has a lot of hype behind it, and it's a year and a half out already, which means Marvel's doing a good job setting up the end of this phase leading to Doomsday and Secret Wars. They just have to stick the landing with Thunderbolts, which I think they will, and Fantastic Four, which I think they definitely will, which will make the MCU hype even better going into Doomsday. But that's really it to cover on the Avengers front. Move over to Netflix, which announced a Scooby-Doo live-action series, the first of its kind in, I think, over a decade and a half, maybe? It says, in this modern reimagining, old friends Shaggy and Daphne team up at summer camp with scientific townie Velma and the strange but handsome Fred to solve the mystery of a lonely ghost Dane puppy. So we'll see how this goes. It's going to be an 8-episode series. It's Netflix. Either it'll be really great or it'll be absolutely horrendous. There's no in between for their shows right now. But hey, Scooby-Doo fans, you got something that's not animated, so fun stuff on that end. To continue on the media trend, though, Disney Snow White came out to a resounding bomb recently. Probably their worst performing movie in recent history. May not even make back its box office. This movie's had a very troubled history, where it originally was going to have like live action actors play the dwarves, and of course, during this retelling, people got very concerned about the cast because, you know, dwarves have a certain look, they have a certain personality that we expect from Snow White, and they did not match that at all. Disney scrambled, redid all of them in CGI, but then the story still has like a really bad retelling. The film looks very low budget from the clips I've seen. It's just an unfortunate thing that I think I've said many times. Disney needs to stop recreating their movies in live action. Point done. That's it. Please stop doing this.
Yes. Don't.
Yeah.
If it isn't original, don't make it.
At this point, yeah. Please stop.
You've already... How many movies have y'all remade and have failed? A lot.
It's too many.
It's just don't even bother. Please stop.
Yep.
But if you're making stuff like The Lion King, by all means, brother. By all means. Those are really good. I think those are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Topic you went over, but because I think that's all the general news for...
No, there's one more general news. The Discord UI.
There you go.
Let me do the Discord UI and then you about the Esports. Discord UI.
That's what I'm talking about, the Discord thing. You went over it.
Okay.
Don't talk about it. Go ahead.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, Discord, our platform that we use to record this illustrious podcast, had another UI change. This isn't the first time they've tried this UI. I remember seeing this back, I think, a year ago, and they rolled it back because people were like, this is bad. And now they brought it back, and it seems that it's here to stay. On mobile, Discord still looks the same, but on PC, desktop, everything is tiny. Everything is like... It just looks everything looks like they've shrunk it down and tried to fit more things on the screen, which I don't think Discord should be trying to do, because now everything looks very clustered. The only improvement is that there's more options for how dark you want your screen to be. And I noticed there's like 3 variations of dark mode now. I still think the OG Discord dark mode is the best. The other two look kind of weird to me. But the way that everything's just small and crammed together, trying to like maximize the screen space, kind of bad. What we've learned from apps is that less is more. Twitter has the same issue. The little bottom bar has too many damn things on it now. You have the home bar, you have the search bar, you have Grok, you have Twitter videos, you have the notifications, and you have messages. Instagram does the same thing. Snapchat does the same thing. I think TikTok does. I haven't been on the app in 2 years. Probably has the same thing. YouTube has the same thing. Less is more is the main thing. The worst offender of this is Facebook. Facebook has way too many damn things on the screen that I don't know how elderly people are able to navigate it without having any issue. Considering this is an app that like usually 35 plus people use, and there's just too much going on. But Discord, it's not too late. You can revert this, and nobody will be mad at you.
They're not gonna revert it, bro. They've been wanting this for a minute, and yeah, I don't like it. I mean, besides like, the stuff on the bottom, everything looks clustered. The only thing that got bigger was the bottom left where it says video connected. It tells you what Discord you're in. I like that. I like that one. Like that's the only thing I do like that's bigger too. Like that thing is bigger because back then it was like this small. Now it's a good size, but it looks really clustered and I don't know what the. Can I curse? Does it really matter?
It's up to you. You've done it so many times at this point.
Family friendly show. So what the fuck are they doing, bro? Like, what happened to simplicity and like stuff like that? Like everything is just clustered, bro. When I open my YouTube on my phone, it takes me straight to a short.
Yeah, same. And
Why?
I hate that. Absolutely hate that.
I hate that. Like everything. Obviously, look. The reason why everything's like that is because of TikTok. TikTok blew up so crazy that it changed the way and style of the game. And Facebook is so clustered. They added Facebook marketing, and then like I think a year or two ago, they added the Facebook dating, and then
they have their own like TikTok feed as well.
TikTok feed. I'm like, come on, bro.
It got so much that they moved off Messenger from Facebook. There is a point where you could DM people through the Facebook app, but because they couldn't fit everything on the screen, they made a separate app for Messenger. Like,
so
less is more is the main thing.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah,
that's really it.
That's it. All we got to talk about. Yeah, I'm gonna just get to the point because we're not gonna go further. Thank you guys for watching this episode. We appreciate the support and love. Hopefully, y'all like this new style. We're gonna go into the direction to check out how it feels for y'all and if it more accessible and accommodates y'all fairly. So, follow our socials down below. All of them are gonna be at Global Conquerors. Follow our personal socials. They'll be down and below, and go watch the YouTube videos. Some banger Halo videos are out on the channel right now. So appreciate the love and support. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.